Well, howdy folks, Sim here with another video featuring the N7 Fury, being one of my favorite characters at the moment. This time I thought I'd do something of a counterpoint to my last video, which was mostly focusing on being very aggressive on a less than ideal map. This time I'm on 5S Condor against the Geth, which is the worst map enemy combination I could think of for my personal playstyle. Geth, of course, have a lot of damage, a lot of stuns. Very difficult enemy to fight as a squishy class, especially as a biotic. You can die very, very easily. It's not the easiest enemy to play aggressively against. And Condor, as well as just being generally a bit kind of weird and buggy, is a difficult map for a close quarters class because it's very open. There's not a lot of cover. There aren't those kind of nice CQC areas like there are in Giant. And pretty much anywhere you go on the map, you are open to fire from somewhere else on the map. With one or two exceptions. So, if you can do Geth on Condor with the Fury, you can probably do any enemy on any map with the Fury, playing aggressively. This video is one of my first tries at the map. Well, I was still figuring out what I wanted to do, how I was going to play it. So it's not very smooth, but it's actually kind of more interesting than subsequent attempts because I suppose I was less afraid. I was being a bit more aggressive, taking a few more chances. What I learned on subsequent tries was basically that in order to avoid stupid deaths, and there will be a couple of them in this run, I had to spend significant amounts of time camping. I had to spend significant amounts of time kiting, and generally, not always, but generally those runs were longer than this one. This is just the end of wave 6, and then I get a bit fed up and kill myself in the game. But yeah, I wouldn't go past wave 6 on this solo. It's just a bit too tedious, unfortunately. It's kind of credit to BioWare for releasing interesting, different maps, but this one seems to have basically been designed by some kind of sadistic fun vampire. So this is the map you play if you are a masochist, I suppose. But yeah, I'll hopefully talk about some of the things I found did work against the Geth as a Fury on an open map. But, I mean, there are things you can do against the Geth which would be a lot easier if it wasn't on this particular map, so I'll bear that in mind. One nice thing about a big open map like this is that you do have some more time before you get Geth Hunters in your face. And, of course, Geth Hunters are one of the most dangerous Geth units because it can be hard to spot. They close on you very quickly and they stun you as well. Also able to shoot while stunned and staggered themselves a lot of the time. Geth Hunters do a lot of damage. If you haven't got your shield gate cooldown up, then I think a single volley can kill you, even if you're using like a stronghold package, as I am in this video. I'll talk a little bit about how I deal with that later on. So this is before I knew what I wanted to do in terms of controlling spawns, and I kind of get a little bit lucky because they don't they spread out quite a lot, and if they spread out they're a bit easier to deal with. One thing you'll see me doing a lot in this is using dark channel throw combos from range, and you see there, I see the hunter coming up, I shoot it with my face stun to light it up so I can dark channel it. Then I use the dark channel throw combo to reduce its shields. And here, lone hunter, dark channel throw, use the heavy melee to close the distance and then blow it up again. That kills it very effectively. And the reason I use heavy melee is because the hunter will shoot me anyway, pretty much no matter what I do, and the heavy melee gives me that 50% damage reduction so that I can close distance and still get shot by the hunter and not die horribly from it. I haven't been stunned while doing the heavy melee yet. I think maybe if you're in the animation you can't be stunned. but you can certainly be prevented from using the attack if you're stunned, so be careful about that. Generally stuns will be the bane of your existence if you play Geth as a Fury. They prevent you from dodging, they prevent you from using the throw. Got very lucky here. Yeah, 2 Geth Hunters, by the way, run. Run like fuck, because you are gonna die. They do a lot of damage, they will stun you. Doesn't matter if you stagger them, they will still shoot. You see Annihilation Field keeps on wearing off. Happens a lot on this map because it's so open and spending such a lot of time to actually kill anything. And here I get into a bit of a bad situation. And you see, I threw at that rocket trooper, but it just went straight past him. Geth are difficult to hit, for me anyway, at close range with throw. I think that they have narrower hitbox than most troopers, and I think that they maybe have narrower target boxes where your powers will lock onto them. And because they're all essentially the same width of model, except for the primes, that means all Geth are very difficult to hit up close. Which is another reason that I kind of don't charge into big groups of them and spam throw on this map. Now you see, I'm avoiding rockets in 2 ways. One is just by sprinting perpendicular to them, and the other way is by strafing. The 20% speed boost that I'm spec'd into from Annihilation Field makes both of those very reliable. If you hear a rocket coming and know roughly what direction it's coming from, you can just hold your strafe key. And if you're hosting, anyway, watch it fly right past you. If you're not hosting, well, good luck. I don't have a lot of luck dodging rockets while I'm not hosting. The other thing is Fury dodge. Normally, if you're playing a human character, and get some good mileage out of the heavy melee here. Normally, if you're playing a human character, normal human dodge, you'll want to dodge just before the Geth rocket hits you to avoid it hitting. Similar to a Banshee warp, but with the Fury, the dodge animation takes a bit longer, so you actually need to dodge when the rocket's like about halfway to you if it's a distance. And I think you'll see in this video it catches me out a couple of times. I dodge at the normal time I would expect, and I still get hit because I'm in the middle of the animation. Now here I haven't controlled the spawn because this is still me experimenting with the map, and as you can see they've all spawned in the worst possible place. So I'm gonna kite them away, which is a bit tricky on Condor actually, because for some reason they seem to take a while to come to wherever I want them to come, and yeah, there's such big wide open sightlines on most of the map that you can't just kite them in a convenient corner easily. The best place to kite them is probably the insertion point, but then it's kind of tricky to get out of. You can teleport through the wall there, and on later attempts in particular I use that a lot, but you still take fire while you do it, and it's a bit risky. It's also a bit boring. So here you see I'm getting a lot of use out of the wonderful 20% speed buff. Again, not using any equipment, just the Stronghold package because I didn't know what else to use. So, I mean, if you put an Adrenaline mod on, then like Adrenaline 3 mod will give you a higher overall speed, even if you've got the damage taken evolution in rank 5 of Annihilation Field. And I should apologize, by the way, for the volume of the music in the background. I had it turned up quite high to, well, to try and distract myself from what I was doing, because I didn't particularly enjoy this, I have to say. Geth, not my favorite enemy, as you may have picked up on, and Condor, definitely not my favorite map. Combination of the two, I do find a bit tedious. The reason I don't like Geth is just because I usually find that sooner or later against the Geth I'm forced to camp somewhere and spam abilities from cover or shots from cover or whatever, which is not really my preferred style of play. And also I think that the combination of extreme damage output, many stuns, and general toughness of health and shields and all that. It's a bit punishing. I don't really find the Geth fun. I tend to avoid playing against them if I have a choice. This I think will be the first Geth Prime that I fight. Geth Primes, I don't know if I mentioned this, you can generally... You see what's going on with the throw there? I mean, this happens a lot on Condor. Any travel time power, it will just fly off at random. I don't understand it. And the other thing about the map that makes it so difficult, apart from just the general openness, is like the cover in front of me here. It has gaps which the AI can snipe you through with extreme efficiency. But as players, we generally can't hit our powers through it, hit our gunfire through it with any kind of reliability or consistency. I think one run actually I was down to the last enemy, a Geth Prime, and it curved 2 of its 3 shots around the piece of the cover that I'm looking at it right now. That kind of cover, it was just the platform to the left here. It curved 2 of its 3 shots right around the cover and killed me, which I felt awfully cheated about. Which is another problem with Geth Primes, of course. One of the reasons they're so dangerous, those curving shots. But if you sprint perpendicular to them, or even if you just sprint so that you're at a slight angle, if you have to, you can avoid most of the shots. Another thing you can do against Geth Primes is use your biotic explosions to stagger them at the time you need to come out from cover and run past them or whatever. Or you can even run straight past them and hit them with a throw as you go by and stagger them that way. It's a good tactic against any kind of big enemy, Atlases, Primes, whatever, as it will give you 1.5 2 seconds of time between them being able to get a shot off. I don't know if I used it in this video very much. Just be aware that there is a bit of a cooldown in the game between big enemies being able to be staggered, so you can't like put it off twice in a row. And this is me just retreating to what I identify as a safe spot. I use this spot a lot in later runs at this, because it's pretty much the only really safe spot in the map. And you see, just no problem dodging the rockets, just strafing, and they don't hit me. I didn't even need to change direction. I'm just doing that to generally keep moving erratically and make it less likely that, for example, a hunter sneaking up behind me will hit me. And I think it may have worked there. Generally, if you're not sure if there's anything nearby and you're in an open area, stay moving. Just strafe side to side, back and forward a bit. It won't save you from everything, but it'll reduce the amount of damage you take from things like troopers at long range or rockets that you didn't notice, Geth hunters sneaking up on you, that kind of thing. And you see I also get a lot of use out of zigzag running on this, although again, I mean, it doesn't save you from damage completely. It just mitigates the damage you take, which is especially important against the Geth, because those Geth troopers do a lot of damage. They are very accurate, fire very quickly, and they don't have shields, so you can't, if you get into trouble and there's a Geth trooper shooting at you, you cannot just drain its shields and walk away happily, which is one of the reasons that I find them so difficult, I think. And you see, one of the reasons that I'm using an automatic weapon for this game is so that I can see hunters coming a bit easier, and when the gunfire is hitting them, it's a lot easier to target them with dark channel, which obviously makes it easier for your other abilities to hit. If a Geth hunter is cloaked and it's not being shot, it doesn't have a damage over time effect on it, and you try to use like a heavy melee on it, chances are the melee won't lock on and you'll miss, and which usually means death, unfortunately. And be aware that heavy melee has lock-on problems generally. Any class, any map, any enemy, you cannot rely on it. So one of the reasons that I don't use it very much in general is because it can get you killed very easily. Not so much of a problem if you're with a party that can res you, but obviously part of my aim on this and subsequent runs is to minimize the number of times I'm dying. And I do go down a couple of times on this map. In fact, I think I go down twice in quick succession. It may even be around about here. I'm getting in a bit of a bad position. See, heavy melee didn't actually lock on properly there. It didn't teleport me to the rocket trooper, but I still managed to get away, so I think he was caught in the stagger radius at least. And then 2 hunters decloaked in front of me, which is, you know, okay, time to run. Very lucky to survive that, really. And just running around the map to check where all the enemies are, make sure that there's nothing coming up behind me, because now I know for a fact that there's nothing behind me for a little while at least. And this is just me being very careful because I've had a couple of bad experiences with nearly dying this round, so I'm just taking it slow. Geth rocket troopers are one of my favourite enemies to fight as the Fury because, as you see, it's very easy to dodge their rockets, and they have shields you can drain as well. Geth pyros, I quite like them as well because if you dark channel and throw them from range, then use heavy melee and throw, you take a little bit of damage, but they'll die pretty reliably. Just wait for this stagger from your biotic explosion to wear off before you use your melee, and that'll make sure that that they get staggered from the melee as well. Obviously, if you have a stagger animation in progress on a mob and you hit it with another staggering ability, the animation won't reset. They'll essentially not be staggered by the second ability. Now, one thing that you'll see me doing a lot in this video, and if I uploaded any subsequent ones, you'd see me doing even more of, is this. It's not working too well here, is it? My dark channel went missing somewhere. But yeah, casting dark channel on someone at range, preferably a weak trooper. Pelting it and its friends with gunfire while it cools down, and then just throwing. Throwing as the dark channel jumps, and getting a biotic explosion each time. You see, there my heavy melee didn't lock on because the hunter recloaked. It didn't have a damage over time effect on it, and I just got massacred. There was another hunter right behind it, and yeah, not good. And you see, now I'm going to run the worst possible direction and die immediately straight again. Why? Geth troopers. Geth troopers are really dangerous. I cannot stress this enough. Yeah, they are just very high damage, very hard to hit. They're almost like marauders without shields. Actually like fighting marauders as the Fury, funny enough, because they have shields that I can drain. But yeah, definitely be careful around those Geth troopers. Geth rocket troopers, as I was saying, quite easy. Geth pyros are fairly easy. Geth hunters are okay if they're alone. But very dangerous still. I mean, if there is more than one hunter, or if there is a bunch of units around it, then I wouldn't probably take it on in close quarters unless I had a team at my back. Geth troopers, pretty dangerous, and the most dangerous enemy, of course, is the Geth prime. And you see, I'm still figuring out the teleports here. I didn't aim that one quite right, and I hit the prime with a biotic explosion as I go past to stagger it and giving it a bit of extra leeway, and I still get hit by it. On this map and on open maps in general, Geth primes can essentially deny you access to very large parts of the map, anywhere that they've got line of sight on, and they don't need a lot of line of sight because they're very accurate, and their shots can bend around corners and some types of cover. Also has a splash damage effect like a missile, so if it hits near you, you can be affected by it. Also, they stun you, of course, and when you're in a fragile class, you depend on your active abilities, your dodges, your biotic explosions to survive. See, I'm very, very lucky there not to get hit by that Geth hunter. Yeah, that reminds me, Geth hunters like to dodge to the right when you are, I think it's to the right anyway. I don't know if that dodge was deliberate, but it was a bit of a stupid thing for me to do, trying to get behind this wall instead of behind that lovely piece of cover on the right there. But yeah, Geth hunters, if you get into close quarters with them, be aware that they'll often hop to the side just as they're about to die, so don't get too caught out by that. It's fine if you're ready for it. It's obviously adds a little bit of extra time onto the process of killing them. This is a bad place for me to be camping out because, as you can see, the Geth can just come straight on top of that cover from me. And these primes can also cast turrets to on my flank, which they just did, so I'm gonna get out of here. This is cool, I like this. Right through the wall. There are a few places you can do that on Condor, but the problem with teleporting through walls on Condor is just that you're often teleporting from a bad situation into a bad situation. If you're confident that there's nothing on the other side of the wall or down the slope or whatever, then it can be nice, but just because the sidelines are so open, it's very risky. I use it mostly as a desperation ability, I think, in this run. Another nice place to camp, incidentally, is just those little crates that I ran past behind me. You can kill vast numbers of stuff coming up from the LZ area quite effectively, quite efficiently with Annihilation Field, Dark Channel, Throw. And if you get into trouble, then you can do the teleport dodge thing to the side and end up in the middle area. Which normally I have to say I would stay away from, because the middle area is pretty much a death trap. Not just because it's got open firing lanes to pretty much the entire rest of the map, not just because it's surrounded by spawn points, but also because it's got that little ridge in the middle of it, which you can't sprint over or dodge over quickly, which slows you down, limits your running without giving you the added benefit of cover, and it's got all these little nooks and crannies that things can easily get lost in, and they just pop out and hit you at the worst possible time. Anyway, I was talking about Geth Primes, and as I say, the main problem that I have with Geth Primes on Condor and open maps in general is just how effectively they can lock down the entire area of the map that they are near. Condor is probably the worst map for it, because a Geth Prime on this slope will have line of sight to almost everywhere on the map. A Geth Prime in that open area to the right of me now, again, will have line of sight to pretty much everywhere except this hill. And even this hill, I mean, the cover on the right there, Geth Primes shoot through that no problem. It's very difficult to position yourself, especially as the Primes move so quickly, to reliably avoid their shots through that cover. And all it takes is a one shot to stagger you, and a Geth Trooper that you didn't see, maybe firing from a different angle, and as the Fury that is, you are toast at that point. So yeah, I mean, I give up on this this attempt after wave 6. I hadn't actually intended to go that far. This was just kind of my experimentation run, and it went a bit better than I expected, so I kept on going, trying to teleport up here. So you end up behind that box, which is very fortunate. But yeah, later waves you have 2 and then 3 primes on the map at once, and gameplay wise what that comes down to is getting a few opportunistic kills in cover, and then sprinting desperately past all the Geth and all 2 or 3 primes to the insertion point normally, waiting there for the primes to assemble, getting a few opportunistic kills while you're there, and then using the teleport to escape, head to the outside of the map and kill as much as you can before the primes get line of sight on me again. And I mean, I'm not the world's best player, and I'm sure that there are many people out there who would have no trouble facing multiple Geth Primes on Condor and maintaining a decent killing speed, but I just can't do that. And again, I forget to block the spawn up here, and it definitely costs me some time. One nice thing about this spot, though, is that they do generally come from one direction. I could have probably waited a bit longer there, but I'm taking no chances. I'll try and kite them to this end of the map again, which, as I've mentioned, is a bit weird against Geth on Condor. At least they take their time to get down there. Yes, so after wave 6 you've just got Geth Primes everywhere, and it takes a very long time to do anything alone as the Fury, unless you just camp out and use Annihilation Field, Dark Channel, Throw to kill stuff. So here I think I'm just going to run right past this Prime, no fucks given, and get that nice heavy melee damage bonus as I teleport, and you can see it still health gates me, and I use an ops pack just to be sure. So getting quite close to the end now. I think I use a missile to speed this bit up. But yeah, after the hack finishes, I eventually decide it's not worth playing anymore, and just go have a group of pyros, which is probably for the best, because I mean this is not the most interesting gameplay in the world to watch. And you can see that Hunter on the left is doing his absolute best to practice his wall impression. You know what? I don't think you need any more practice. I think you've got it down pat. Well done. Hunters do that occasionally, actually. If I don't know what it is exactly, but they seem to sometimes just kind of get a bit confused and sit there at the side of cover that you're behind. Hey, it's nice with Annihilation Field. You can blow them up. It's quite convenient, actually. And another nice thing about the Fury, if you are playing against Geth and being forced to camp, is that they do rush at you, and Annihilation Field means that when they get close, you can blow them up, which is very convenient. Again, sprinting as fast as I can, zigzagging to dodge the incoming fire. So, in terms of techniques, to sum up what I learned, first thing I suppose is strafing. It's very useful against the Geth, particularly good for dodging rockets. You can often avoid the first shot from hunters with it as well. And zigzag running as well, a good mitigation strategy to just avoid taking too much fire. Can help you avoid Geth prime shots as well, although the most reliable way to avoid them, and it's not 100% reliable either, is to sprint perpendicular to the line of fire. You can also sprint quite effectively past most Geth units, so long as they don't melee you. You can use a biotic explosion to cover your passage. And when you can't fight up close, which is quite often with the Geth, dark channel throws is a great way to be very effective at range on gold, especially if it's against troopers. They'll generally die in a single dark channel throw combo. Obviously on platinum it's not quite so good, because you don't really have units weak enough to die from a single explosion. Obviously gunfire can help out with that, teammates and that kind of thing. And of course the main defense the Fury has against the Geth's high damage and stun lock and all that is her excellent mobility, the ability to quite easily dodge rockets, to teleport through walls to escape if she gets overwhelmed, that kind of thing. Even on an open map like Condor, you can usually find ways to take advantage of that. So I hope this wasn't too tedious to watch. I know it's not the most exciting gameplay in the world, but hopefully it wasn't too bad, and yeah, thanks for watching.